Hey, what is happening? Chris Martinez here. I'm the host of Operation Agency Freedom, and I am so excited about this episode. Man, we've got some good guests that have been coming on the show. I've got Mike Arce, who is the founder of Loud Rumor. Now, Mike is a very, very special type of entrepreneur. He made his kind of like claim to fame, or I learned about him when he started, or when he was running just an agency, a normal old agency that was doing like a lot of lead generation, specifically in the fitness niche, and he has completely transformed his agency. Of course, they're doing a lot of the lead generation things that they're doing now, but they are basically working with gyms across the United States, I think across the world even, and they are transforming them from the inside out. So I want you to listen to this episode so you can see why he made the switch and became more than just a marketing agency, the ways that it's impacting his clients, the type of work that he's doing. And if you have any interest in doing this in the future, I highly recommend, because Mike has got the blueprint for you. So, with that being said, let's head over to the interview. Hey, everybody. Very excited. I've got the legendary Mike Arce, founder of Loud Rumor. He's on our podcast today. So, welcome to the show, Mike. It's good to have you
Thank,
back.
thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. You're coming off a busy week. You guys had a big event. I think it was in Austin, right? Last week?
Yep, GSDCon. This one was our people themed event. So the next one's our sales, which is sales and marketing.
I love it. How many times have you run that event now? Because you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, it's our 12th time. It's for internal members. So
Yeah.
we do invite outside members as well every once in a while,
Mhm.
not every event, and never more than 10% of the room. So it's usually just our members, the ones that can make it.
Cool. Well, I'm going to ask you more about that in a second. But for those that don't know, give us a little, bio on Rumor and yourself as well.
Yeah, we're Loud Room is an organization that helps gyms all around the world. And we have two main things we help with. One is marketing, and that does not mean digital lead gen only. I think a lot of people call themselves marketing agencies, but really all they do is run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads. That's not marketing. That's digital lead gen or social media marketing. So we have help them with marketing, and the other side of it is a full on mastermind. So we connect them to incredible gym owners from all over the world. We meet up regularly. I mean, some of these guys have become best friends. They're going to each other's weddings. They're forming partnerships to increase multiples on their businesses. So a lot of really cool things are happening now that we're about at our almost fourth year into the mastermind.
Love it. And really quickly, because I know we could probably talk about this for a while. You originally were like a trainer for a little while, and then eventually you started Loud Rumor, which I hate to classify you guys as an agency because I feel like that doesn't do your company justice. But how did you personally end up getting into like the agency space?
Well, we were before we niched to fitness, we
Hmm.
were an ad agency and a
Hmm.
digital ad agency specifically. So we did Google ads and we did SEO and stuff like that. And then 2016, there was a you know sticky point for us. Early 2016, maybe even
Hmm.
2015, towards the end of it. So we decided to niche to an industry that I personally loved. Which, yeah, like you mentioned, I was in the fitness industry for almost a decade prior to this. So I always wanted to go back, so I decided to merge it, and we would just, do what we're doing just for gyms, but we focused on just Facebook ads at first, and then we were gonna build upon that, and now Facebook ads is like one of the smallest things that we do. So little by little, we just kind of expanded.
So this is kind of where I want to start the conversation, is basically that revelation where you had to go from a digital ad agency to something a little bit more, I don't know if holistic is the word, or broad, because even your marketing on your own website is very unique.
Mhm.
Was there a turning point specifically that you remember where you're like, hey, we need to shift from just doing digital ads to now helping out like a wider range of solutions for our clients?
I don't know if it was so much of a need as much as we just kind of felt like it was the right thing to do for us.
Mhm.
So if you ask every gym, and when I say every, that's a blanket statement. When you ask many gyms, hey, what do you think would turn your business around right now? Like, what would make everything easier? And everyone says more leads.
Mhm.
But here's the problem. In 2016, for anybody that's listening, well, I don't know how many gyms listen, but let me put this on my podcast. But in 2016, we were helping gyms get, with a $500 ad budget, 500 leads a month. That was a great,
Jesus.
well, that was a
Yeah.
great, I mean, if you were running Facebook ads or Instagram ads in 2015, 16, 17,
Right.
that wasn't crazy. That was normal, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
getting some leads for 62 cents a lead. So you give us $500. We had some people getting six, seven, 800 leads a month,
Yeah.
and they were all qualified. But guess what? The monthly revenue never really moved because
For
you,
your clients or for you?
oh, my clients, I
Okay.
watched them. I
Yeah.
watched them. I watched them get 400 leads a month, 500 leads a month. I watched them drown in them, not be able to keep up. I watched them close maybe 15 to 30 of them. And I watched them lose them on the back door just almost as fast as they got them. So they never
Hmm.
really, I never watched a lot of growth. And so what happened is we were having clients cancel. Now, funny thing is, right now, everyone thinks, because lead cost is much different today, everyone thinks that, like, oh, we just go back to that time, $1. Why can't we get that again? Well, I don't know why you want that time again, because you weren't growing then either. There's this thing called a financial thermostat, where it basically says you're always going to find a way to put yourself back in the same financial situation, just like a thermostat would. If you set the thermostat to 70 degrees and the air outside is 75 degrees, the AC is going to kick in to put you at 70. If it's cold outside at 60 degrees, well, the heat's going to kick on to bring you back to 70.
Right. Right.
People have a good ability to stay at their financial status. And I don't care what you throw in here. If other things don't change, you're going to stay at 70 degrees or whatever the financial situation is for you. So
Right.
we worked really hard on actually developing them as entrepreneurs. And
Mhm.
that's why they're growing. Now, the average human in our program grows by 89.6% within their first year with us. That's average. And we track every penny. So we know exactly what's going on with every company we touch.
So are you getting their P&Ls and like, looking at how the revenue growth and the profitability and things like that are going?
We're reshaping their P&Ls. Many of them don't
Okay.
even have a really good setup for their P&Ls. A lot of
Right.
them don't really know what to look at. They look at top line, they look at bottom line, and then, maybe they kind of look at their labor and they look at some of their operating expenses and what they paid to franchise fee, if that was the case. But a lot
Right.
of them don't really know how to interpret their cash flow statements, which would be their P&L, their balance sheet. I'm sorry, their financial reports, which is their
Mm.
P&L, their cash flow statement, and their balance sheet. A
Right.
lot of them don't even know what to do with them.
Right.
So we actually help reshape them. And then we build out a new version of a P&L that has stuff that's way more telling, with arrows, and it shows what your lifetime value is, what your customer acquisition cost that modifies throughout the month,
Yep.
how long they're retaining members for, what the return on investment is on anything that they do. So they've got this incredible dashboard now where they're able to really make good decisions with us. And when that's in place, it's a lot easier to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is a massive, massive shift in terms of going from an ad agency to now being more of like a consultant for their business. Um, what was that transition like from a personnel standpoint? Because I'm guessing that you had to add some folks to the business to help you accomplish this because not everybody knows how to read a P&L or even how to create systems so that we can start analyzing and creating P&Ls for our clients. What was that transition like? And you tell me if like you had pushback from people telling you that this is a horrible idea.
Yeah, of course I had people tell me, but I, I didn't care about fitting into the model and being better than whatever other companies are in the model. I cared about helping gym owners get more members, more money, more minutes. That's our purpose. There's nothing else that we do. Everything we build is for that.
Hmm.
So if that's the case and I see a way that we can do that, why wouldn't I do it? Just because it's not a traditional ad agency?
Hmm.
Yeah, I partner with somebody, and some things I partner with people on, but in this particular case, I think marketing goes a lot deeper than what most people think. A lot of people think
Agree.
ends with Facebook ads and, funnels and all that stuff. That's like a piece of a piece of a piece of marketing. Marketing does involve numbers. That is a big part of marketing. It involves pricing strategy, and it involves product development. It involves positioning of your company and where it stands, and the messaging that goes out not only to your members but to your employees. All that's involved in marketing. But the marketing agencies I think even many of them are ignorant to that. Therefore, I don't think they're
100%.
lying when they tell people they're a marketing agency and they're not. I think they're just not really educated in marketing. They did a weekend Tai Lopez course and they're selling their stuff. But for us, like Chris, if I'm working with you and I want to help you with marketing, I for sure have to know your numbers.
Yep.
I have to know what your current lifetime value is and your current customer acquisition cost because I want to know what you're paying to get what? Like if
Yeah,
this customer is worth $1,000 and you're paying 1,000 to get them, it doesn't make any sense. Even if you're
exactly.
paying 500 to get them, it doesn't make sense because you have costs outside of it, like your rent and your
Yep.
payroll taxes and all this stuff. So I need a minimum 4 to 1 return, but we aim for a 10 to 1 return. Well, I know there's only two ways to do that. Help you increase the lifetime value, which is made up by how much people pay you and how long they stay with you paying or decrease the cost to acquire a customer, which is improving the advertising process. It includes the sales process. It includes the upselling process. So all of these things have to work so we can stretch these two numbers as far apart as we possibly can. But if you're just saying, Mike, help me with marketing, and I can't look at these numbers, how do I know what to double down on?
Right.
How do I know what to stop doing? By guessing, by what you feel makes sense? Neither one of us should be gambling like that. So, to be a really effective person in your marketing department, I've got to know your numbers better than you do.
Yep.
So I can explain to you how they are all going to work together, and then we can have a real conversation and make decisions around it.
Yeah. So going back to the first part of that question, which was the personnel. So like when you recognized that we were shifting and we were going to start doing a lot more for these clients, who were some of the people that you needed to add to the team to be able to accomplish these things?
It's almost an entirely new team. If you worked for us 5 years ago, you would recognize three people on the team, and I'm not one of them. So four. Everybody else is different. We're playing a different game though. So, yeah, we had to add people that are very tenured people that are very good at what they do, that we have to pay a lot of money to. We've had to add people that aren't even employees of ours because they're so entrepreneurial. They got so many other things going that we had to work out some deal where they take on certain functions of the company without fully committing as an employee, but they're able to commit as a contractor for certain pieces. Yeah,
Can
I
you give
mean,
me like just one example of a team member that you had to add? Was it like a data analyst or a financial advisor or something like that?
yeah, I mean, we've got a wealth manager that works with me on my stuff that helps us build out stuff. As far as reports go and
Mm.
projections. I personally have studied financials
Yeah.
pretty well, small business accounting and marketing financials as well. So I built out a lot of the processes we have. Yes, we've hired people that will create the spreadsheets and make sure they're all up to date and
Mm.
they're being updated properly. And we're making any modifications as we go. Formulas are all currently working. We have entrepreneurs, people that are franchisors and or like, several unit location owners where they come in and they help create the mentor programs and the training materials that we need, and they help speak at the events. Um, I mean, that would probably be it as far as like people that we contract, but there's several of each of those.
Yeah, and the reason I asked this question is because what you guys are doing is genius, and I recognize that for years. I just want to make sure that the people that are listening, the agency owners, if they're like thinking like, what the heck do I need to change in my business? Trying to give them kind of like a picture as to, new people that they're going to need to add and other things that they would need to learn if they want to do this in their industry, whether that be lawn care or plumbing or whatever. Because I think your
I'll tell you,
model,
a lot. It's a lot.
it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say it's easy. I'm not gonna do the whole it's in 3 easy steps, there's no bull it's a lot of steps. It's a lot of things that you have to do. It's not saying that you can't do it, and it's certainly saying it's not worth it. I will say that if you do not have a incredible passion for business and marketing, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's more important for you to for people to think you're a marketing genius and you take pictures in front of a Rolls Royce and, you like to brag how much you're hanging out with or constantly posting pictures with who you hang out with and showing that you know people. If that's more important to you, then just keep doing it because you can take pictures like that with a seven-figure agency and be just fine, or even a high six-figure agency. You can do that, but my mission is much bigger. I don't give a rat's ass about
Oh, you can
any of that.
curse. Don't worry. We
Okay.
curse here. We curse on this podcast all the time.
I still curse. I just switched at the end.
Okay.
Um, I don't really care about that. I'm very dedicated to the mission. Outside of Loud Rumor, I earn more money through my investments and other things that I have going outside of my business. So I could quit this company and I would be just fine. And in fact, the money I make outside of the company, I just continue reinvesting it. So I don't even use any of it. So I can literally live off of this for the rest of my life and be fine. I do what I do with Loudimer because I love it. I love what I do. We're constantly working on ideas. We just hired a new employee today. When I say hired, I mean we created him. It's an AI employee. My
Nice.
voice. His name's Hugh. Last name Benoit. He has 700 hours worth of our content in his brain, and he's able to talk to you just like I'm talking to you right now. Like,
I love it.
just he could have done this podcast interview.
That's amazing. It would be even better if you say at the end of this podcast, actually, this is not Mike. This is humanoid.
It could be.
That's maybe next year.
But
Um,
what I will say for people that are listening right now, if you've got a real passion for this, some of you may not, and that's okay. It's okay to admit that. Some people just like, no, man, my passion's traveling, hanging out with my family, working out, that's it. But for those of you that are like, I really, really, really want to make a dent in the industry, I really want to help. I'd have no problem with being a partner for some level of equity where we can literally show you exactly what we do. You can get the templates for everything we do. I've
mhm,
never done that before. I don't have a business model. I have to create something to sell it. But I have started exploring the idea of what if in the next few years, once, we've really, really gotten this thing dialed in well, we just started doing this in other industries. Cause
yeah.
I love gym owners. I do, but I love helping people. Like I love when I work with my kids. I love when I work with
Mhm,
my cousins. I love working with my friends. I love helping people. So it doesn't stop at gym owners, but that's the industry I'm committed to currently.
yeah. When you were, implementing these changes, I think one of the fears that people have is that like, and we've experienced this as well too, because we went from being basically an outsourcing company and then now doing consulting. A lot of the things that you're doing for marketing agencies. Um, some of the hesitation to switching over is, as you mentioned, you are kind of starting a new business. The clients that you had before, did they embrace the new things that you were doing, or were they kinda like, "Whoa, you're just my ad person, like, I don't wanna give you access to my financials," or was it easy for you guys to make that transition?
It wasn't so much a transition as it was a swap. Like most of our clients that we had 5 years ago aren't with us either.
Oh, okay.
Some of them, here's the thing. Back then, if you had a gym and you wanted leads 5 years ago, pay me $1,500 and I'd sign you up.
Yeah.
What was that? Now, just the same thing I just said to you for the agency owners, the same thing I say to the gyms. Like, if you don't really have a passion in growing this thing, if this is just more of like a side thing for you, don't do it. If you really don't want to learn business, don't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people they were like, I just need somebody to help run Facebook ads. Cool. I'm not that guy. Like we say no more to more people than we say yes to. When I do a sales pitch, which I'll usually do like group settings at our conference. So anybody that came in as a guest, I'll take them to lunch the second day and
Mhm.
I'll tell them what we do, but I don't sell them. I actually unsell them. I say, look, here's the deal. I start out with the price. This is what it's going to cost. Start out to your commitment minimum. If you don't show up to stuff, we're going to ask you to leave. We're not going to give you a refund on that as well. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to, put in hours that you weren't expecting. But after you do all that, if you're even just average, you'll grow by 89.6% because that's what the data tells us is happening. If you're average, if you're half as good as average, you're still growing by about 45%. If you're half as good as the average, that's up to you. But that doesn't happen because the average person in our company is average. The average person in our company is a hard worker because we only
Mhm.
bring on hard workers. So you have to determine if that's you or not. And
Right.
then I thank everybody for coming and I walk out the door. And then if they want to sign up, then they come back, talk to us.
I like that. Now, when and I'm sure that you've refined this pitch over the years. When you started this 5 years ago was 2019. 2020 was one of the biggest revolutions that we've had. I don't know if revolution is the best word, but it was a massive shakeup, especially with fitness.
because so many gyms couldn't open. So
Mhm.
you implemented this in 2019, 2020 happens, all the gyms are closed, at least for a little while. How did you get through that time period?
November, Black Friday 2019
Mhm.
is when we released this. March 17th or March 16th of 2019
Yep.
is when I started getting all the emails of cancellations.
Mhm.
We had more than 65% of our ad agency clients cancel, more than 65%. Um, but we grew the mastermind to a seven-figure business within the first year of it being open. During COVID, we grew it to seven figures.
Nice.
Um, and now it's, well over that now, way well over that. But the reason when COVID happened, the day shutdowns happened, every one of our employees that was on the media team and the consulting team, we went into the office and we filmed a course on how to go virtual in one day. Like within 15 hours of the announcement that we're shutting down,
Mhm.
everyone's locked down, within 15 hours of that, we had an entire course on how to do it. We had launched a new podcast called GST COVID podcast updates or updates podcast. Um, we released 55 episodes within the first week of it launching. Each one had a video and audio as well. We interviewed experts in health, in legal, in fitness, in real estate, in everything to help people learn how to negotiate with their landlords, to help people learn what's coming with this virus, to help people
Mhm.
learn what kind of contracts they need to sign for because people are going to be doing stuff at home now, like legally, if they get hurt at their house
Right.
doing stuff, there's a problem. So we started interviewing people nonstop about the PIP and how do they get it effectively, like quickly, what does that mean for their employees? We brought people on that were like attorneys for employees, right? Like
Mhm.
employer employee attorneys.
Mhm.
And because of that, we helped so many gyms. The average gym, sorry, not the average, the data was in that first year of COVID, more than 40% of gyms went out of business permanently.
Yep.
One of ours did. One gym total.
In the whole time period. N
That one first year,
uh,
I didn't measure past that because we were out
okay.
of it. But
Right.
first year, March to March, one gym. That's how many went out of business under our protection, right? We had some gyms grow. So it's an opportunity. And I think that if I'm not thankful that COVID happened because many people got sick. Many people got really affected by it negatively. And I think it caused a really weird strain on like our culture in general. Um, But if we're
Absolutely.
looking but if we're looking for any hey, if we're looking for any silver lining in it, I will tell you that we helped strengthen the minds of a lot of gym owners, a lot of people, and, our employees. We were really, proven what we're capable of as an organization, and, I don't think we would have grown the mastermind as fast as we did. Still people today still talk about how during COVID, we not only saved their company, but they grew since then.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it was depending on your situation, it could have been really good. It could have been not so good.
You could make the argument that we're on the cusp of another revolution or another evolution, I think is a better way of putting it, with
Recession
AI tech
or AI. Okay.
with AI technology. Recession, who knows? We've had so many recessions over the past 100 years. But the technology evolution that's coming with AI, I mean, you just mentioned that you now have a AI persona that can do things the same as you, and most people would never know the difference. How do you think that this evolution is going to impact marketing agencies specifically?
I think there are going to be a lot more jobs, and I think people are going to have to be prepared for how to understand AI in order to leverage it.
What do you mean there's going to be a lot more jobs?
We just made the world easier. Like every time the world gets easier, there's more jobs.
Okay.
Well, so imagine you went back to like 100 years ago.
Hmm.
Now, we're 2024, so you have to be careful. But in reality, 100 years ago, women were the ones doing the laundry, right?
Okay.
That's not like a bravado statement. That's just saying that's what it was, right? So Now imagine you go back in time to a woman, 1924, she's doing the laundry, right? And you go, hey, in the future, you're not going to have to do that laundry. What do you mean? You got to have a washing machine. Oh, wow. So washes for me? Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? Once that's done, you won't even have to hang it to dry. You just shove it into the machine right next to it and it'll dry it for you. Oh my God, that's amazing. So I'll just have to like go to the market and get, no, no, no. Actually, you just have to go to the market once a week or two because you can keep things in a refrigerator that'll keep things refrigerated for you. And you don't have to go to the market 2, 3 times a day. Wow. So I just have to cook. Yeah, but that's a lot easier. There's a lot of foods that you can just microwave up or, there's ovens and there are microwaves and you could even hire a person to help you cook. So I just have to watch the kids. Well, there's daycares and you can actually leave your kid at a daycare and they learn throughout the day. And it's pretty interesting. Wow. So what am I going to do in the future? Well, you're going to work. Why am I going to work? So we can afford the washing machine and the dryer and the refrigerator and the daycare and the oven.
Right.
So when you think about it, our life should be a lot easier. 30 years ago, Chris, if I sent you a letter, it would have taken me time.
Hmm.
I would have had to write the letter. I would have
Yep.
had to lick the thing. I would have put the stamp on it, take it to the mailbox,
Yep.
wait 2 days. You get it. It's a lot of effort. So maybe people got a few letters a month. People are getting the hundreds of emails a day now. We made things simpler and we did more of it. So that's just what humans do. Whenever things are simplified, we can't help but make things complicated.
Yep.
It's a human thing. So the more right now, people don't feel less stress that there's AI. They feel overwhelmed. They're thinking of all these things they can do now with it. And now they're doing things that they weren't ever doing before, which means they're busier.
Mhm.
So I think AI is going to help take things off of our plate, but I think we're just going to learn how to use it, just like we learned how to use electricity that made things
Mhm.
easier for us, and refrigeration that made things easier for us, and
Yeah.
transportation. Right? We travel more, right? Like that's just what happens. And now that there's planes, you think, oh wow, I don't have to travel for the whole year to get from New York to California. No, but you're going to go like travel all the time. So
Right. I guess the biggest question that I have, because I had, do you know Qasim Aslam? He,
yeah, good friend of
yeah,
mine.
yeah. So Qasim was on the show last month, and he was talking about ads, and he basically said that any ads only agency is dead in the water. Dead men walking because of technology that's coming. So the
Agree.
biggest fear that agency owners have, and I think rightfully so, is AI essentially going to make me irrelevant in the same way that Expedia made travel agents irrelevant?
Of course. But traveling didn't go down.
No,
Travel went up.
absolutely not.
But and guess what? Marketing's going up now. There's more people that want more marketing now than ever, especially those that were spoiled because in 2015 and 2019, leads were so cheap.
Yeah.
Now they're like, what do we do? So they're all looking for a really good partner. Everyone thinks agencies suck right now. So they're all starving. If there's an agency right now that starts crunching it on digital ads, like they're gonna blow up.
Yeah.
The problem is it's the landscape. I agree. I think just like anybody that was somebody that helped with horses, whether you were you worked with horseshoes or you were a vet for horses specifically, or you trained horses, hundreds some years ago. Yeah, of course, like you are going to be out of business if you stay with horses, but like no one says you have to. You can absolutely take your same skill sets to be instead of being a horse repair, you're working on with cars. Instead of being a veterinarian, you're working with something else. So um yeah, we have to adapt. I mean, humans are pretty damn good at that. Humans and cockroaches are really good at figuring it out and lasting. So but I do agree. Like, if you don't adapt, you will. I mean,
Perish, for lack of a better term.
yeah. But if you're a marketer, the world needs you now more than ever. Because what are you going to do with these results? Do you even know what to do with them? If you're a digital ad creator, then yeah, like you're almost useless. You're almost there. But if you're a marketer, a real marketer that knows how to look at the numbers, make decisions, build stories, bring things together, bring people together. Yeah, I mean, now you're going to do great because you have all these tools to help you get it done without having to rely on people that want a mental health day off every other week.
Right. Right. this is maybe where you and I differ a little bit in the sense that you mentioned that people are very adaptable. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I don't think that all people are very adaptable. I think this is where there's a difference in the. I heard this one guy who's like, he's a little bit crazy, but he was a Green Beret, or I can't remember what the name is. The Army Special Forces. I can't remember what they call them. I listened to him talk, and he's been in so many combat situations, which is why he has crazy PTSD now. But he said that in any like emergency situation where like your life is on the line, 20% of the people just can't manage it and they die instantly. Like these are the people where there's a burning building and they run into the burning building and die. He said 60% of the people are in the middle, where it's kind of like a coin toss. If they get lucky, they live. If they don't get lucky, they die. And then that top 20% of the people, those are the ones who will find a way to survive through anything. Nuclear bomb gets dropped, they will find a way to survive. And so what I believe is that this newest evolution with AI is going to kill off a lot of people because the majority of people don't have the ability to adapt in time, right? Maybe they wait until the last minute to make a change. I think that the top 20% are going to thrive like crazy. Now, I don't know if you agree with me or not,
Well, I
but
agree. I said people. That's not a blanket statement of all people. It's just a general, to me, a general of just understanding of history.
yeah,
And like generally, people have figured it out. We're not like a poor country since horses vanished and everything went to cars. We're not a poor country once internet was invented
yeah,
and changed everything. We're not poor now. People, generally, people
mhm,
figure it out. Of
right.
course, there's people that the internet crumbled their businesses. Of course, there's people that cars crumbled their companies and their lives. I get that. But I mean, just the people, humanity, like we're going to be just fine.
Life will continue, essentially.
Yeah, and the 20% are gonna create jobs for the people that are at the bottom 20%, or not the bottom 20%, who knows where they go. For the 20 to 80,
Yeah.
the top 20 are gonna create jobs where they'll find a home.
And so like if we're just talking to, like if we're doing an analysis, let's say we got 100 gym owners or 100 marketing agency owners, what are the qualities that you consistently see across those people that help them to be successful? I'll tell you mine really quickly because we're doing a little bit of a study on this. The first one that we see is that they have great discipline already. Like we don't necessarily work with agencies that are like struggling. We take the ones that are good and we help them become much much better. So they come to us and they already have good discipline. The second thing that we've seen, and we still got a lot more studies to do on this, is that they already have great personal credit. Like they have good money management skills already. Those are the two big things that we're seeing across the board. Everything else is kind of like still up in the air. Asking you that question, what are some of the qualities that you're seeing in your top gym owners and also like other successful businesses? Because I know you have a lot of entrepreneur friends.
I think those things you mentioned help for sure. I don't I do know that we have a lot of people that have gotten to the top of our mastermind without those particular things.
Without discipline and good personal
Uh,
credit.
sorry, credit, the credit one.
Okay.
Discipline, yeah, you need a good level of discipline to be successful in pretty much anything, not just business. I think if you want to be successful in sports, if you want to be
Yeah.
right, so period. But like something that I think is a little bit more controllable, or you could see somebody that's like really really smart or somebody that's not really really smart, they can still get there. Number one is a good why. Like, why are they even doing this? I think if you don't really have a good why, like you're gonna have days where you're motivated, you're gonna have days where you're not motivated, and that's it. But a really person with a really good why can move mountains. Like
Mhm.
they really want to get it done. So I think a really good why is important. I think either their existing network, which most of them don't have, or a dedication to really get a good network is important as well.
Mhm.
Because you're going to be the combination of people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way, example I gave is my son, right? Let's say my son came home, he's 17 years old, and he says, bruh, 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 bruh. Everything's bruh, right? and I were to say, if I wanted to coach them out of saying bruh, or like, listen, don't say bruh anymore. Here's why. And I can give all the reasons why, make it help get a mindset shift. Maybe even he believes me. He still says bruh, bruh, bruh. Then I go, maybe I give him a hack, like wear a rubber band every time you say it, snap it, or have an accountability team call you out on it. So bruh, bruh, bruh. What happens is his 5 friends come over and they're all hanging out, and I hear every one of them, bruh, 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 bruh,
Bro,
bruh,
bro,
bruh,
bro, bro.
bruh,
Yeah.
bruh, bruh, bruh.
Yeah.
There's no amount of coaching I can do if I'm battling that. Now, if I get him to start hanging out with people that don't say bruh, that's going to be his fastest route to not saying bruh anymore. And for our members, the fastest way to get them to think about the numbers, to think about the how to manage people, how to recruit people that are better, how to set in a good routine to get things done, is to hang out with people that are already doing that because that's their conversation. Um, if you want them to complain about things, hang out with complainers, right? So I think the easiest way to coach or mentor somebody to be better is to put them around better people. Then everything else is easy. So I think that those are the two things: a really good why, and either already existing good network or a willingness to really network hard within the mastermind and with these people. And when they do that, I mean, we watch people that come in, never run a business before, don't know what the heck they're doing. And we watch them opening up their third or fourth studio, bringing home 80, 90,000 a month in profit. We see
Wow.
that. That's not a rare story. That's a story. So, um, but they had big whys and they started really connecting with the people in the program.
Yeah. I love it. Last question. We'll get you out of here in a few minutes. The events, so I do want to come back to this because you've been putting on events like nobody else that I've seen. Like I remember you did one a while back where you dressed up as the ringleader. I think this was after that movie. I can't remember the name of it.
Greatest showman.
Greatest Showman. There we go. So you were Hugh Jackman impersonator. Like, where did this come from? And I don't know if you're comfortable sharing this, but it seems like you're spending a lot of money to put on these events. Like, the ROI must be great, or is it like a retention tool? So let's start with the first one. Like, how did you come up with the idea to host these live events?
The idea was what I just said. I think community is going to be the biggest reason people do well. So
Hmm.
rather than our clients all working independently and then still talking to their staff predominantly for
Hmm.
ideas,
Hmm.
how do we get them together? Because we started realizing like, wow, I want this client to meet this client. I think they should talk. And then when
Yeah.
that, well, I'm like, we should get more people together. And then we just said, let's start doing events, right? Let's make this a community. So right now, we're probably one of the only companies of our type that feel very comfortable getting all of our clients together in one room at the same time, right?
And how many events are you doing per year?
4,
4 events, so quarterly, basically.
not really. 3 of them are for the same group. Well, everybody gets allowed in this group. These are GSD cons. We have one GSD con every 4 months,
Okay.
different themes. The one we just did is people, then sales and strategy, which covers money as well.
Okay.
But there's a 4th event that's not opened up to everybody. It's opened up to A class, which are people that already have 7-figure businesses.
Hmm.
So you have to be doing 83,000 a month in revenue
Hmm.
in order to qualify to get into that group. And then that group has their own retreat. So this year we're going somewhere pretty cool, pretty exclusive. And we're bringing a speaker or 2 in there and we're going to do some really fun stuff while we're together. But, these guys are talking about different things. They're not talking about how do I get my leads to close. Some of them have 20, 30 locations. They're talking about stuff like, you know, how do we do a roll up in order to sell all of our locations at once? Who
Hmm.
wants to roll ups with me? I mean, we can all sell. How do we
Hmm.
bring in
Hmm.
investors and raise capital? So they're talking about different things. Um, as far as the money makes all the sense in the world to me. I keep putting money in the events. Our budget raised by almost 30% this year. So this has been voted every year. The first quarter of every year, we interview the top 25 clients that we've got. Top 25 not being defined by your numbers. It's defined by you most match our ideal avatars better than anyone else in the program. That's how top 25 is. And we ask them questions. We got 22 questions we ask them. And one of them is what's the most valuable thing you get here at Loud Rumor? And then there's 8 things that we do. And one of them is GSDCon. And 94% of people choose GSDCon as the most valuable part of the program, which means that's what they want. That's what they love. That means we should double down on that because
Hmm.
that is one of the things they really enjoy. Now, when you think about the cost and we do a cost per head deal, well, what does it cost for us to acquire a customer? Well, right now it costs us roughly around 3 to 4 grand to acquire a customer, but the customer could be worth 40 to 55 grand in any given month, right? So when you look at it, the math makes sense. But if we go, well, what if we were able to hang on to clients for just a few more months? Well, if we were able to if we were able to improve attrition to the point where on average, it means we're hanging on to clients for even just 2 more months. Well, divide that by that time frame, it totally makes sense to invest it into the thing that helps retain them the best.
Yep.
So we take every head that's in our mastermind, and then we have a dollar amount per head, and that dollar amount contributes to the overall annual budget for the events.
Mhm.
And whenever we want to increase it, we just have to justify and say, well, by the amount in which we're increasing it, we would have to improve attrition by this much.
Mhm.
So it's a retention tool. It's also a really good sales tool for some prospects that we bring down there. Um,
I mean,
but
brand awareness, because I'm watching all the videos. I'm seeing
yeah,
your events. I'm not even in your industry,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
So there's a lot of good things that come from it. And overall, like, I mean, I personally am making a lot of really good friendships from these events. So I'm going to weddings and stuff.
I love it. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being here, and being so generous with your time and allowing people to learn from you and especially the journey because yeah, I mean, you're ahead of the times from what I know of you and what I've seen is like you're generally ahead of the times. I think it's really, really important for marketing agencies, especially those ones that have just been so into, I'm an ads person, I'm an SEO, da da da, da, and recognizing that the landscape is changing and that, if you have the passion for business and you can expand your agency to do more, you're going to have a lot more longevity and you're going to be able to withstand these like AI evolutions and things like that. So thanks so much for sharing that with us. A very, very savvy entrepreneur. Pat yourself on the back. So yeah, great job, man. Thanks. So for everybody that's listening, reach out to Mike. Hit him up on Instagram or Facebook, and follow Loud Rumor because they're doing so many amazing things. See you guys on the next episode. Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/dude agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.